Beautiful souls, today is Tuesday, January 7th, 2025. So many strange things have continued to flow into this new year, and we're only a week into it. From the strange fog that continues to sweep over parts of this country and parts of the world, continued drone invasions, along with other strange objects in our skies, and now accompanied with this heightened concern revolved around the bird bug, and also some type of serious outbreak that we're being told is taking place once again in China, which aligns with some of my past predictions. When I told you China was in for it in the near future. Hospitals becoming overwhelmed, we're being told, but is it all true? One thing's for sure, we all know and we all feel something huge is on our doorsteps. But what could it be exactly? What is in our near future? Could it be another outbreak or a pandemic? Remember the simulation that was done back in 2019 by Hopkins University, I believe it was, where they did right before the outbreak of the 2020 bug? Do you remember those papers? We went over them back in 2020. You may be surprised, maybe not so surprised, when I show you today another recent simulation that was just done by the same group of people, posing an outbreak for 2025 to 2028. How convenient, friends, just in time for the new administration and the trumpet to blow once again. No coincidence there. You're going to have to take a look at these papers. They're very concerning. The new year started out horrifically, at least if you're following what mass media says and wants you to focus on. That's really what they want you to focus on, of course. With the attack in New Orleans, the strange events revolved around Las Vegas, and was the Vegas thing really an attack? Likely not. Or was it more of a warning? I'll go with the warning, friends. I'll go with the warning. And is that guy still alive and in hiding? I have no doubt that he is, friends. No doubt that he is. Could this be a sign of something that's much bigger that's about to come for all of us? I have absolutely no doubt. And I am putting more of the pieces together for you today, as we also review another prophetic dream from a friend, a dream from another person in the comments, combined with some of my own recent visions that I've had over the past week. And I believe this will outline these coming attacks, not just on America, but allied countries as well. We're told that signs are going to appear in the heavens, and friends, they sure have been showing up in our heavens and in our skies. But could the fact that, did you see this? That lightning struck not only the Capitol building and the Washington Monument, but also the Empire State Building and the One World Trade Center in New York City. All on New Year's Eve, and all being caught on video and on film. So is that a sign? Because a lot of people believe it's a sign that something bigger is about to come. Could it perhaps be to those 4 locations? I have no doubt, friends, that this is a huge sign, even though lightning striking those buildings is not uncommon at all. There's lightning rods at the top. Hello. But the whole point, when it happened and how it was caught and how everybody's talking about it, that means something. And I'll tell you what that means today. And as we are still seeing these strange fogs appear all over the globe, as well as all kinds of speculations from people as to what it could be or what it is, did you know back in the Dark Ages, the very Dark Ages, are you aware that there was a very strange fog that swept over Europe? I don't know. We don't know if it swept over America because America wasn't there yet. This was in 528, I believe, AD. So a strange fog overwhelmed Europe and swept over Europe. And soon after, you know what happened, right? The bubonic plague. The bubonic plague, hence marking that the Dark Ages. Very dark time for at least Europe. So is this fog that everybody's seeing, could it be some type of a warning? You know, there's even the movie The Fog. There's a couple movies that involve fog. One of them is a Stephen King movie or novel about the fog. Creepy. So is this fog again some type of warning? Seems to be an awful lot of events that all to me could very well point to specific warnings. But warnings of what exactly? That's what we're going to talk about today. Something quite huge is indeed on our doorsteps, friends. And it is way too close for comfort, if you ask me. And it's going to affect each and every one of us on this planet. No matter what, we will all be affected. But is it an impending doom? Or is it more of a much greater awakening? I'm going to go with the much greater awakening. Today's Spirit's going to answer those questions for us with lots of new visions and predictions to share with you. So get your tea ready, friends. Get your tea ready. And let us begin episode number 148.
It's Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time, baby.
January 2025 is upon us, beautiful souls, beautiful friends, and beautiful tribe. And it's almost hard to believe that 2024 is already gone and past already. Boy, did that year fly by like never before. And the new year started off with this powerful new moon. It didn't start off, but right before the new year started off, on December 30th, we had that very powerful new moon, the second new moon of December, stepping us into the month of January in this lovely waxing moon cycle that we're in right now, which is all about manifesting your dreams, aspirations, and goals. I really hope that you took advantage of the new year, of the information I put out, the little ceremonies you could do for yourself to manifest into the new year, and take advantage of these energies for manifesting this amazingly abundant and joyful future. Remember, the future's in your hands, friends, always. We also had a small series of solar flares and geomagnetic storms that hit just before the new year rung in. And if that's not a sign in itself, friends, then I don't know what is. And an even bigger hit from the sun came rolling in just over the past few days, a few days ago. So you are feeling these effects. You started to feel those effects definitely since New Year's, but even more so yesterday. Did you notice? You should be feeling those effects since yesterday. And remember, as much as some may beg to differ, the sun has absolutely everything to do with our body, mind, and spirit, to our health and so forth. And you can block out the sun like the globalists want to do. And you can block out our bodies. In doing so, you're going to block out our bodies from the body's natural ability to heal. Also, sitting with your sun, with your eyes closed facing the sun, has a great penetration to the third eye chakra, your intuition. The sun is extremely important. It just seems like they're working really hard to block that from happening. So intense sun flares, intense energies from these sun flares, in turn have also had a really heavy effect on our bodies. And again, have you wondered why you've been feeling a little odd lately? Have you ever wondered why also, again, Gates and billionaire friends really want to block out the sun? This is why they want to do it. Because it's not just for climate control. It's actually for control over humanity, friends. And control over the entire planet. And control over God and the weather and everything else. And God, in the long run, is not going to allow them to do that. They're not going to succeed in the end. This we know. And I noticed several folks, including myself, pulled out their backs. Mine was on New Year's Eve, right after that new moon kicked in. New Year's Eve. The new moon was on the 30th. And I noticed that window of time from December 30th till the turn of the new year, January 2nd and 3rd, and even up to now, but that first window, we heard a lot of folks getting sick. A lot of folks wanting to blame it on the fog and other things, of course. When in reality, the lack of sunlight, let's start with that, the lack of sunlight topped off with these energies from the sun flares and the stress of the holidays is bound to bring and make people sick. Besides, the universe is always giving us things and messages, and sometimes that's in our health. I took my message, my pulled back as a sign, even though I already planned to get back into the swing of yoga and all that. That was a definite reminder that you're going to. Of course, pulling it out didn't get me started when I wanted it to, but it will. And astrologically, this is a time where we're being told to slow down. It's after the holidays, and it's wintertime in the Northern Hemisphere, so it's really time to slow down. And the holidays, again, are bound to make people sick. So be mindful, Spirit tells us, of course, always to drink lots of water. And if possible, get outside and get some sunlight on your face. And use perhaps a vitamin D3 supplement to also help. Perhaps consider getting yourself, if you're in a sun-deprived area, get yourself a sun lamp. A lot of psychologists recommend them to patients, especially patients with bipolar and other different disorders. Sun lamps. Get yourself a sun lamp, an infrared lamp. It's all different types of things, but the sun lamp's what you really need. Really, no, actually, the sun is what you really need. Let me correct that. But as a backup, you can always use a sun lamp. More people will get depressed in the wintertime, and that's simply because there's less sunlight. So get outside, friends. Ground yourself, absorb the magic of the sun. That's what it's there for. Our sun in the skies. So did you feel some type of major shift that occurred in the air? Perhaps in your lives again yesterday? Did you feel that shift? I felt a major shift yesterday and even more so today. There certainly has been these intense shifts happening in the energy over the past 24 hours. And again, with these geomagnetic storms, I can talk today, that are flowing in. But also yesterday's Mars retrograde. Mars retrograde entered into the sign of Cancer yesterday. That's intense, friends. This means this is a great time for us to set strong boundaries and taking advantage of this time to do some emotional and physical healing. This is a big window of healing for all of us. Whatever that healing may look like for you. Again, body, mind, spirit. A lot of it's energetic and most of it's energetic and emotional. And at the same time, you may also notice this intense level of emotions kicking in. And folks with their emotions, you're going to notice, are going to become more protective and more defensive. So you're going to see a lot of defensive moves, so to speak. That's how people are going to be with these energies. And this will also resonate on a global scale too, of course. Of course it will. And as we begin to see these tensions escalate globally with conflict all around the world, and especially with people's fears that Trump's, second reign in the White House, I have no doubt that the puppeteers are all about to launch something really huge, especially in the United States, as a ploy to somehow sabotage the inauguration on January 20th. I highly advise, if you're considering attending the DC event on the 20th, you're going to definitely want to reconsider, friends. I wouldn't go nowhere near that place. Not this time. Stay far away from it. And this Mars retrograde is going to slow things down a bit. Perhaps, again, a reminder from universe that we all need to do exactly that. Take time to slow down a little bit. Nurture ourselves. And stay focused on your goals, your aspirations, your dreams. This is a year, man. We get a new start. We get two. Your birthday is the most powerful one of all. And then New Year's. We have so many different shifts in our lives, but they're the two most powerful times. And the influence of Cancer in this Mars retrograde, Cancer represents water, of course. Also the most psychic and intuitive of all zodiac signs, in my opinion. And this will likely make the waters, all the waters, or water in general, a big focus. As I mentioned in my 2025 world predictions and forecast, if you missed it, go back and listen. I put out quite a bit of videos with 2025 predictions. And expect there to be issues when it comes to being, we're talking about waters and such. Expect there to be issues when it comes to Navy, Navy ships, the Navy, maritime type of issues and disputes on the seas. Likely some type of, I had this feeling of some type of a missile hitting a ship. That type of an incident taking place. Especially towards the China Sea. The China Sea jumps out at me strongly. So I don't know what's happening in the China Sea, but with this Mars Cancer influence, something's going on there. Something's going on all around the seas. I could even see a sea invasion taking place. Like all these, Navy ships coming in. That's probably Taiwan. Now, the Cancer influence is also going to be accompanied by water-related disasters as well. And this could be a strong influence that could very well bring about not just one, but several tsunami type of events. We know it's coming. Again, so much is on our doorstep. Spirit told us it's going to be one thing after another. And all this includes our ascension. So Mars can and definitely is going to heighten fear. Fear when it comes to your own personal safety, security, and survival. And now come to think of it, I didn't even think about this now, but I bought a hand pistol, yesterday when Mars went into this. That's kind of funny. Yeah, talk about personal protection and being safe and personal safety. Yeah, I didn't even think about that till now. It's kind of funny. But that's what Mars is going to heighten. It's going to heighten. And I don't have fears of that. I just like to be prepared. Don't be scared. Be prepared. But it's just kind of funny that I did that yesterday. I didn't even think about that. It's going to heighten people's fears, though, when it comes to your personal safety, security, and your survival. So you'll see more people prepping now and getting ready to prep, especially with these events that are going to play out between now and March. So therefore, the global elite, of course, they're going to use this against us. Of course they're going to use this. They follow the astrology, the numerology, and everything else. And they're going to launch some type of events that are going to ignite this type of fear in people. Fear of your personal safety, your security, survival, which already kind of started on the 1st, at least in New Orleans. That would put people into that high secure fear of their personal safety walking down the road. And what I tell you months ago, earlier in 2024, to watch vehicles are going to be used as weapons. And that was just a ramming. Wait until they ram with highly explosive materials inside. That's coming too. I'll talk about that later in the specific predictions I have for you today. But I would think that without a doubt, the global elite are going to use this, and they're going to do this to pose some types of events that ignite this fear. In turn, okay, there's always a twist to everything with them. In turn, implementing new laws, new laws and new legislation to increase censorship. So watch that. That's coming, friends. Big time. You know, they did that with, I forget the name of it now, but after the whole thing that happened in 2001, you know, tracking people and everything in the United States, and they passed that legislation that was like thousands of pages long and took away all our, privacy, pretty much. Something like that. That's what they're working towards, implementing laws and legislation to increase censorship. And we must all be very aware of this possibility and remember not to feed into those fears. Don't be like, oh, yeah, we need legislation. Don't feed into it. That's what they want you to do. Now, next week, on the 13th, we have our first full moon of 2025, which is also going to shine into the watery sign and intuitive sign of Cancer. Cancer, again, is ruled by the moon. That's my moon sign is Cancer, which is where all my intuition and all has been heightened since I was a child. Even though my sun sign's Virgo, I still read the horoscope. I don't really read horoscopes, but if I were, or if I saw one, I would read Cancer. You should always read all three, your ascendant, which is your rising, your sun, and your moon. Because one of them usually overwhelms all the rest. And sometimes it's not the sun sign. In my case, it's Cancer, because Cancer is ruled by the moon. So with that rolling over the moon, this is guaranteed to bring this heightened effect to both our dreams and our intuition. Likely, this is going to bring about a period of what Spirit told us in the past that happened, but even on a bigger level of prophetic dreams. And even you having experiences of your own visions of the future. For many people who would normally never experience such a thing, prophetic dreams and visions. This is also, I would expect now, come to think of it, that there'd be a lot of, by, say, February, we'll see a lot of videos going viral of people having visions or telling you about these dreams they had of, say, a volcanic eruption or an earthquake or an attack. We're going to see a lot of that break out probably by latter this part of this month, actually. But definitely as we get into February, it would make complete sense with Spirit saying this heightened energy of intuition and prophetic dreams. So when it's that heightened and people that normally don't experience such, they're going to be the first ones that want to run out and tell people. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them will. And this is also, again, going to highlight water and the waters once again. And we all know how the full moon can affect the water in general and the cycles and the tides and all of that. Not only that, it also has a heavy effect on the Earth's tectonic plates. So I would expect these alignments that are coming over the next week to also bring this potential for a multiple large earthquakes. And again, I would expect tsunami type of events in the near future, and big waves, tsunami events. Even we'll see a story of a small cruise ship, maybe it's a tour boat, not sure, being capsized by a big wave. People being rescued. It reminds me of what happened in Italy back in the day. And I had visions of that in my past predictions. I predicted that event before it happened. This time I feel like they may luck out with everybody getting off safely, and we can hold that in the light. But that vision just came to me now. That's what you got to tune in every Tuesday because things just pop up. Spirit shows me things. I could prepare, but Spirit's in charge. So I also feel that this is going to bring more focus, these alignments in this full moon, when it comes to national security, when it comes to homeland defense, and of course, when it comes to border control. Borders are going to be a big highlight. And we know that just by the trumpet that's about to blow. But besides that, astrologically, it's telling us right in our faces, like, oh yeah, big things around that. Which also makes me feel, as I've been feeling for some time, that a huge event is about to play out in the United States and with ally countries. That's going to bring our national security front and center. And what could that be? It would have to be some type of attack. Kind of like what happened in 2001, but on a different level. And I can't help to also mention that this alignment can also bring people together for humanitarian efforts, which is even more interesting because that's something I talked about in my 2025 predictions and forecast with other alignments and also mainly the 9 universal year that we just stepped into. The 9 universal year is very often about humanitarian efforts and what would bring about humanitarian efforts. There would have to be major crises and events happening in order for humanitarian efforts to be a highlight. That's highlighted in the number 9 for the whole year 2025. It's highlighted in the astrology, especially with even the moon in Cancer. That highlights humanitarian efforts and humanitarian focus. So again, something's on the doorsteps, friends, for humanity. And I'm feeling that the 9 also can be a focus on climate change. That's the other thing about the 9 vibration, which is also interesting because this tells us that a massive Earth shift in the near future and shifts in the climate like nothing we haven't seen is absolutely inevitable at this point in time. So hold on tight, friends. And like Spirit's been telling us since 2020, don't be scared. Be prepared. Beautiful, amazing tribe. I want to welcome you back to the channel and welcome you to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. We welcome you with open arms and big old air hugs. And if you want accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth, and you want to vibe with this awesome tribe that we have created and built here, then smash that subscribe, the bell, and all so you get notifications. And if you don't see me pop up by Wednesday on your feed, then go directly to my channel. Make sure that you weren't mysteriously unsubscribed. Also, smashing that thumbs up love button for 3 reasons. First reason is because it's just the right thing to do. Second reason is because I put a lot of love out into this and time and effort, and that's just showing your love and appreciation by smashing that thumbs up. Thirdly, it will get more of this kind of content on your feed, whether it be from me or other channels here on these platforms. So down below, you'll find the link to my newsletter with all the astrology and numerology for January, all the content that you may have missed from last month, including the links for all the predictions and such for 2025. Sign up for free. You have to sign up from that newsletter directly. Make sure you confirm the email confirmation that you receive after you sign up. And then it goes out usually on the 1st of every month. Sometimes in the middle of the month we'll send out one, but I haven't really done that in a while. Once a month is enough. We don't want to overwhelm your email with a bunch of emails every week. Some people do it every day. I block them right away personally. It's a little annoying. Also down below, you can find the links to all my other platforms. Spotify, Rumble, the Awaken Your Spirit Subscribe Star platform of supporters. And the supporters, you can be a member and a monthly supporter down below. In the description, you'll see members down below. I thank all the members and all the supporters who have made this free content possible and allowed me the time to put into all this content to do something I love to do and bring all this information to you for free. So thank you with infinite love and gratitude. Let us move on with episode 148. I just took a short break from recording, and as I was taking my break, I saw this vision. I was outside, but I saw a vision, people with black face gas masks on. I don't know what. They look like civilians more than anything. I don't know what that was about. Looked like on the streets, there was some kind of smoke, so I would imagine something was let off. I don't know where I'm at. This, again, was when I was taking a little 2-minute break, and I had this vision of people in the streets, people with gas masks on. Not sure what that's all about. But this year certainly kicked off with an array of wild stuff, wild events, and clear signs that to me, what lies ahead in our near future. A lot's lying ahead in our near future, friends. From the geomagnetic storms that have been hitting our planet since New Year's Day, the horrific events that played out in New Orleans, the continued invasion of our skies by drones and other strange activity, and now strange fog sweeping across the globe. I don't know if it still is, but it was in the beginning of the year for sure. And there's tons of speculation, of course, friends, as to what many people believe it's revolved around with the strange fog. When some people are reporting getting sick and allegedly claim that it's from the fog, even though it happens to be cold and flu season, friends. Happens to be cold and flu season. So what makes this really strange, in some minds, is what happened before the outbreak of the bubonic plague. I said that to you earlier. That strange fog that swept across Europe right after the beginning of the Dark Ages. The explanation of that fog actually happened to be the eruptions of several volcanic eruptions that happened in Iceland. That's what they assume anyway. That brought this strange fog to Europe, followed by that outbreak in what is now deemed the Dark Ages. Interesting enough, those same volcanoes, or at least volcanoes in that same area, been erupting all throughout 2023, right? Tons of them erupted all through 2023, or 2024. But even 2023, but really last year, the first half of last year. And it's, to me, the most logical explanation. Some believe that it's not, that it's connected to something else, which I'll tell you about in a moment. But first, I want to show you this. Well, not show you, where'd it go? Why much of the world went dark for 18 months in 536 AD. That was literally the Dark Ages. A solar dimming served cold, starvation, economic stagnation, and plague. And that was the first, the darkness that came over. The darkness. There's also that 3 days of darkness that's in prophecy. That is actually one of the next videos I will be putting out, hopefully by the end of this week. So keep an eye out for the 3 days of darkness. I have 2 videos I got to get done between now and hopefully Monday. So keep an eye out for those videos. So the world went dark, and mostly from volcanic eruptions, which is interesting because that's what I felt with the coming 3 days of darkness that does happen within the next decade. Less than that, probably between now and 2030, is going to cause a cool down. And there's going to be massive volcanic eruptions. Massive. I mean, unlike anything in our lifetimes, for sure. Remember, as the spirits always say, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. So some people are believing that this fog is connected to what is referred to as smart dust. So here's a clip. Keep in mind that it's a clip. It's not my clip. It's a clip. And there's music in the clip. And I did not put the music in the clip. So just listen very closely. This is kind of weird, friends. Beyond weird.
First dreamed up by the military to get information from the battlefield.
They call it smart dust, and the new technology may soon make it possible to keep track of anything, anywhere, including you.
Smart dust originated with DARPA back in the 90s. This powder-sized chip is something called the Mu chip from Hitachi. It's the smallest commercially available RFID system in the world. You can literally scatter this stuff like dust or embed it into a sheet of paper. It doesn't require a battery. Flecks of computing power settling on your skin, ingested, monitoring you inside and out.
The nanoparticles are designed to go under the radar of the immune system, and so they are undetected in the body.
We have computing everywhere, we have connectivity everywhere, we have infrastructure that can compute those with new capabilities like AI.
If you have enough data and you have enough computing power, you can understand people better than they understand themselves, and then you can manipulate them in ways which were previously impossible.
That is beyond creepy, friends. Imagine the things that they being the government and the underground government, especially the deep, dark ops, what they have in their possession would be beyond our imaginations and of possibilities. And if it helps make you feel any better, friends, I actually do not feel at all that that's what they are using. I do not feel like, nor do I see or feel that this fog is related to smart dust. Not yet, says the spirits, not yet. It would cost them too much. It would be too big of a massive project. First, they want to eliminate as many of us as they can. Then, after that, then they would do something like smart dust. They already do the nanoparticles and all the other creepy things. Something to help you fight that. I got to remember to do that myself. Charcoal capsules. Charcoal absorbs heavy metals and things. So if you see them spraying above you and, takes charcoal tabs. Not every day, just the days that you feel like you're being exposed to anything like that. Or in areas where you're experiencing this fog. If you're worried about it, remember, fog also gathers toxins too. So there is toxins in it regardless. Doesn't mean they put those toxins there. And I'm not getting that vibe at all. The fog related, I don't feel like it's related to that kind of technology. Most of the fog, according to Spirit, is both natural, but also a rare occurrence, which also is meant to be a sign for humanity to look beyond the fog. That's what Spirit said. Look beyond the fog. The fog they put in our minds for generations. The fog that is lifting as our subconsciousness and our consciousness and awareness of the darkness begins to open up more and more on the planet. Very interesting. But that was Spirit's explanation. It's a rare occurrence, which is meant to be a sign for humanity to look beyond the fog that they put over your minds for generations. That fog is lifting as our consciousness and awareness to the darkness on the planet awakens more. How exciting is that? And I have no doubt that they have been pumping out these nanoparticles for quite some time. We've seen it. We see it in the soda pop, which is another thing. Speaking of soda pop, my friend had a dream, and I shared my friend's dreams with you before. God, I don't have it in front of me, darn. Let me see if I can open it up on my computer. But overall, he's getting the same repetitive dreams that align perfectly with my visions, which makes it creepy. Because he's busy, family man. He's got 4 little girls, wife. He's a busy man. He's busy. So I don't expect busy people and friends to be watching all my content. So he don't know everything that I put out at all. And it's very interesting how his visions align with things like I feel them tainting the waters. Remember, I felt waters being tainted? Well, his dream, in accordance to his dream, it wasn't just the waters, but it was the waters that were going to go into some specific brands of soda pop. It's like they're going to poison the soda or something. I don't know who they are. I'm just, again, telling you what his dream was and how it kind of perfectly aligns in the fact that I see waters being tainted and things being tainted. Now, with something like soda pop, it wouldn't be very successful because it would get out pretty quickly. You know what I mean? Like, they put that out. By the time it gets on the shelves, by the time somebody buys one, and as soon as something happens to somebody, they'll recall it like that. That's the difference. Whereas if they were to taint somebody's water supply, like in a small town, that would affect everybody in the town all at once, causing a pandemic of some sort. There's going to be major problems with waters. And remember, with the cancer influences that are going on right now and everything else, and we're in a Pluto revolution on top of that, water is going to be a big thing. Water is life. Water holds consciousness. Water is amazing, actually. Ever see how if you take a little, say, Petri dish, clear one with water and put it on top of a picture, let it sit for a few minutes, and then put it in the freezer. When it freezes, it literally freezes and looks like the picture. Like it literally took a snapshot of the picture. That's amazing. Dr. Emoto Masaro's work on all that, amazing. So I have no doubt, again, they're pumping these nanoparticles out through cloud seeding and SAI, stratospheric aerosol injection, that little mission that they're on. But not getting that they're using smart dust. I wasn't getting that at all. I would also not rule out in the near future that we know for a fact, because we do know that for a fact that they manipulate absolutely everything, right? They manipulate everything, especially the weather. But I noticed, actually, since I got back from the East Coast here in Sedona, Arizona, I got back from the East Coast after my father's funeral, which was right before Christmas. And I noticed that they've been spraying Sedona like crazy, more than I've ever witnessed before. And I woke up, I don't know, about 4 or 5 days ago in the morning and looked outside at it was probably like 8 in the morning. There were 4 giant X's across it. I should have took a picture. I didn't. It was early. Didn't think about it. But I was like, wow, look at that. And me, I'll stay indoors if I can avoid going out. I won't go out and then I'll take the charcoal, like I said. But the whole canyon, they've been wiping us out with those things like crazy. But there's still some who still refuse to believe that this is actually happening. They resist. They don't want to believe, or they just don't believe. And I just have to share this little whistleblower thing to you, because I told you whistleblowers are going to be blowing the whistles louder than ever. I said that years ago, and look at what we've seen over the past few years with whistleblowers. This gal is a military gal, whistleblower. And listen real closely to what she had to say.
The U.S. Air Force for 9 years. Absolutely. Basically, I had heard of what many people know as the term chemtrails. And I worked in a job called bioenvironmental engineering. And I thought that was insane. And why would we do something like that? Modify the weather by using hazardous materials in our atmosphere. So, and actually the process of trying to debunk it or disprove it, I realized it was actually coming right out of my office, as I was one of the people that was approving the chemicals. And it really shook the core of my oath. And I did a lot of sampling, a lot of investigation, and I blew the whistle and I got out. And I've now used my credentials, my oath, and my powers for good to help people understand it's very real. It's now openly admitted. There are multiple forms of weather modification. I specifically found the one of stratospheric aerosol injection. And collectively around the globe, we have to understand that it is now being admitted because they're saying it's combating climate change. Well, the climate change we need to be worried about is man-made climate engineering, also known as geoengineering. Nanoparticulate metals, like we had different sulfates and barium and strontium. I know it's probably changed over time. I know they use silver iodide for certain things, but these are the odd part of it was the quantities that I saw them coming in, the form that they were coming in. And it's the same type of materials that I was trying to engineer out of the workplace to substitute with safer materials. And when you notice that what's called a safety data sheet, the information about a chemical of what personal protective equipment to wear, how do you dispose of it, how do you pack it to ship it. When key information is missing, I ask questions. And my questions led to demonization, and I knew I found something I shouldn't have. The dissipation rates are dependent on weather and climate, but it's getting into the food, it's getting into the soil. And around the world, wastewater treatment plants, when it comes to pharmaceuticals, or these toxicants is what they're called, they are not able to filter them out. So if you're growing organic food, are we going to go back to the plexiglass barriers on our plants? I mean, it's horrible. That's why you can ban it anywhere. We've had states in the United States ban it, and that is great to get the ball rolling. But people really need to wake up to it, irrespective of any political party. It's not okay. And you're seeing a huge increase in neurodegenerative issues like Alzheimer's. It's really difficult for people with respiratory issues and asthma. And people are wondering why they have allergies 24/7, 365.
So it's happening, friends. It's happening. And her information is both alarming, concerning, and very validating, if you ask me. Heavy metals suppress our immune systems. These heavy metals get into our foods, our gardens, and it's literally an absolute disgrace. This is a part of the awakening of humanity. Again, it's not impending doom. It's a greater awakening. And in order for people to greater awaken, the evildoers are going to be resilient and ruthless in the events that they're about to pull across the planet in the next few years. It's up to us to stay strong, stay in the light. But this awakening, again, these events will awaken people more and more to know, like, oh, wait, there is this evil. And then it'll awaken people. Eventually, the point is we need to step back into our power, and we need to take our power back, the power of the planet. That's how it's going to be. The power to be able to grow our foods the way we want to, naturally, without tons and tons of toxic chemicals in our foods and our vegetables. It's just ridiculous now, friends. We know it. And once it starts to have a major effect on people's health, which it does, but I mean major, when people start dropping off like flies, that's when people are going to start asking more questions. Should we be concerned of incoming outbreaks and pandemics of some sort in the near future? With so many folks now believing that this fog is making them sick, perhaps they could really be fulfilling what my mama always said. Don't worry yourself sick. Didn't your mama and grandmama say that? Don't worry yourself sick. Mind over matter, friends. Know your body. Know your body and know what it needs, and keep yourself in a positive level of body, mind, and spirit. And that's different for everybody. Different for everybody, whatever that may be. Whether you're meditating for the body, mind, spirit, exercising, what you're putting in your body, all very important. Drinking really good, healthy water, natural water. We're seeing now the first person passing away, as we're being told, from the bird bug here in the United States, too, of all places. Of course it was in the United States. Bird bug's been all over the world, but United States is the first reported passing. If that's really what they passed from, we really won't really know. We can only believe what they tell us, but do you really believe? Something I say that a while back, I told you, watch that bird flu very, very, very closely, friends. Watch it closely. And I told you to stock up, too, on chicken. Because I have to say that I stocked up on chicken, eggs, any way that you possibly can. I know that's not always possible. It's a challenge. For starters, I purchased cans of freeze-dried chicken. Sliced chicken, diced chicken, a couple different freeze-dried cans to have in my prep closet. You can also buy dried eggs. I don't know if they're freeze-dried, but they're dried eggs, powdered eggs. Powdered milk. I have that in my emergency closet as well. Powdered milk's pretty nasty, but hey, when it comes down to it and you need something, it'll work. Having things like that. You can also freeze eggs. A lot of people do that. Freeze them in bags and take them out as they need them. Not the whole egg. You got to take them out of the eggshell, obviously. Some people actually put them in little, I saw like little muffin pans, put the mini muffins and put an egg in each muffin and freeze it. Pop them out and put them in a bag. I saw someone do that too. I don't know if you're supposed to poke out the yolk or not. Like pop it. I forget. But I saw someone do that. And I noticed for some reason the Whole Foods down there in Sedona, Arizona hasn't had eggs in weeks. And I don't know, perhaps maybe their walk-in's broken because the Safeway had them. But regardless, I take this all as a sign, friends. Eggs have more than doubled since the last administration, the JB administration, more than doubled. And they're going to continue to grow in price. And there's a lot of talks of major outbreaks happening again in China. Remember, it was in a past prediction that Spirit said to us that China was going to have major issues, including an issue with an outbreak. We were also told, though, this is the good news, we were also told that it was going to stay pretty confined, to not to be concerned, as far as future lockdowns are concerned. And as I stated in the past, I feel when it comes to future lockdowns, firsthand, it's going to be voluntary. Voluntary. People are just going to volunteer not to want to go out. People are not going to want to go out for whatever reason. I don't know. It's going to vary across the globe. I would also think that this would mostly be related to perhaps weather and climate events, like ash from a volcanic eruption, keeping folks indoors. While at the same time, I feel martial law will also keep people locked down for a very short period of time. Not like 2020, says the spirits. But it'll need to keep cities straight. Certain cities are going to have to call martial law coming up. Again, also stock up again, folks. Always be prepared. Don't be scared. So back in 2019, not long before the 2020 bug came along, just a few months before actually, there was this simulation event conducted, simulating an event of a world pandemic. Remember those papers? We reviewed them. I forget what they were called, but we reviewed them back in 2020. A lot of them got deleted because we reviewed them. Papers that allegedly aligned perfectly, definitely, but papers that allegedly aligned perfectly, with how 2020 played out. You remember reading those papers? I mean, even the tweets, all the way down to the tweets, because it was Tweeter back then, were listed in this simulation, right? Simulation. Yeah, they simulated pretty darn, they played that out perfect timing too. As if they knew it was coming. Obviously they did. Somebody did. The good Lord knew. To make matters even more concerning, friends, could they be preparing for something like that again in the near future? And this is why I say, Because wait until you see this, friends. There was another simulation of a global pandemic held by the same corporation and the same group of people, this time pointing directly to the window of time 2025 to 2028. Interesting how this aligns with the new administration, as if they prepped for this before the trumpet began to blow again. So let's take a look at this, because friends, again, this is just, to me, really bizarre. Here we have it right here, friends. The SPARS pandemic, 2025 to 2028. A futuristic scenario for public health risk communicators. Interesting. I'll leave a link in the live chat when we go live. Oh, look, they even have a little picture, the little bug there. The Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security. Same ones that ran that same simulation back in 2019. And I think it was the summer of 2019 to be exact. The Johns Hopkins Center of Health Security works to protect people from epidemics and disasters, to build resilient communities through innovative scholarship, engagement, and research that strengthens the organization's systems, policies, and programs essential to preventing and responding to public health crises. Now look at the table of contents here, friends. And I'm sorry if you hear that chainsaw in the background. I don't know what it is with this neighborhood, but they always choose to do things like cut down trees on Tuesdays. Never Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. A possible future in 2025. That's the preface. The echo chamber. Outbreak begins. Possible cure. Possible V. Users beware. Going viral. The grass is always greener. The voice. Are you talking to me? So very interesting. And as you go down even further, the grass is always greener, part 2. Are you talking to me, part 2? Antibiotics. And look, the recovery. Look at the recovery. Injury from you know what? They already expect that, no doubt. Acknowledging the losses and the aftermath. References. Response scenario timeline. That's at the very end. Oh, we got to go look at that. This, wow, friends. This is just, you got to read this. It's very thorough. You have to go through it yourself. I just wanted to quickly just show you. This is a hypothetical scenario designed to illustrate the public health risks, communication challenges that could potentially emerge during a natural occurring infectious disease outbreak, requiring development and distribution of novel and or investigational drugs, therapeutics, and medical countermeasures. Interesting. Look, they even show you the social media stuff there, the links for social media. This is just creepy. The possible future of 2025. And it's just interesting they picked that window of time, 2025 to 2028. The same term of the trumpet taking over the White House. Ooh, feel that helicopter going over my house and everything's shaking. My apologies. You probably can hear that. If you can't hear the chainsaw, you probably hear that. My apologies. So look at this. Just crazy. And again, I'll leave a link in the live chat room. Oh, look, they even have little hazmat suits there. You know, this is where it really actually, yeah. Oh, look, they even, third death in a week due to the unknown illness in the Twin Cities. Where's the Twin Cities? That's the, what do you call it? Minnesota. Minnesota. Beware, Minnesota. You're the first one listed there. Beware. Possible cure, chapter 2. Interesting. So to make matters even more interesting is the fact that I had this sudden urge, and I'm not paranoid. I don't have fear. I just like to be prepared, never scared, ever. And I just had this sudden feeling that I think I should probably get a gas mask. And where I live, I know I'm safe where I live. And I know I wouldn't need one where I live, but I just had this weird feeling to look up gas masks. Then talking to my friend, ex-military intelligence, says you need the whole suit to go with it. And I was looking at hazmat suits. I'm like, that's definitely something that's on my list to add to my prepper closet this year. Now, a really good gas mask, I mean, just a somewhat good one is $250. And if you want something that's good. And if you live in a city, Hey, again, better to be prepared than scared, and better be safe than sorry, as my papa would always say. We'd rather have it and not use it than need it and not have it, right? So I don't know what their whole intention of this whole SPARS simulation is. The concerning thing is that they did the same simulation, well, similar simulation for something that actually played out months later after they did the simulation. So is something going to play out? My concerns is more of biological types of warfare that are going to be used in the near future. My symbols that I've seen in visions of the radiation symbol, that's again probably why I had this sudden urge to think that maybe a gas mask might be a good idea. Again, better be safe than sorry. So something perhaps that could potentially play out in our near future with their simulation. I haven't read through the papers thoroughly. I will definitely read through them. Have you spotted any strange activity in your skies lately? It's interesting how much we've talked about signs in the heavens for a while now. Past 2 years, actually. At least past 2 years. And now what's played out, I made a prediction in early 2024 that strange events are going to play out in our skies, and Spirit told us to keep our eyes to the skies. That was one of my 2024 world predictions. And now, being even the Bible warns to pay attention to the signs in the heavens and in the skies, that also includes the movement of the stars and the planets, which is likely mostly what the Bible is aligning to, the astrological alignments and such. So could this big event that's coming, multiple events, including the attack within the United States, that's inevitable. It's coming. I guarantee you. They're here, friends. They're here. They came across the border. Spirit showed me visions of them coming through tunnels with help from the cartel. Billions and billions of dollars were exchanged between the cartel and these radicals. Groups like ISIS would be one of them. I can't think of the name of the other one. Al-Qaeda. Even though they don't work together, they're working together. And there's 3 groups together. I don't know what the third one is. And this is also being funded, of course, with Iran, China. Somehow North Korea is weaved into this web in funding these people of getting into this country. Not just the United States. They got into Europe. They're in Paris. They're in all their allied countries all over, big cities. Paris is one of the big ones. New York City, big one. Big cities. And they are hiding out, we could say underground. I don't know if they're literally underground, but they're underground, being hidden. We need to hold in the light that these cells are caught because they're about to put out something big. And whatever that is, that's going to definitely lead into the next great world conflict. No doubt. This would also make sense to me seeing people being rounded up and arrested. Massive amount of arrests taking place. Military in our streets. All this, it all just falls into place. And all the signs are showing in the skies. But check out these signs. Do you think these are signs? What took place on New Year's Eve? On New Year's Eve, lightning was caught on film, on camera. A huge light show played out by Mother Nature on New Year's Eve. Brought in with it large bolts of lightning. One, first hitting the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., followed by another strike caught hitting the Washington Monument just over 200 miles away in New York City. Lightning was also seen hitting the Empire State Building and the One Trade Building in New York City. And some say this is a sign. And I agree. Although, to be fair here, it is not at all uncommon for lightning to hit any of these structures. Friends, they have big lightning rods at the top of them. Of course they're going to get hit. It happens all the time. The last time we saw a big story about lightning striking the Trade Building in New York City was 2023. So it's not that uncommon. So we have to look at that, of course. But the fact that this all took place on New Year's Eve, friends, it was caught on film and then in turn viewed by millions of people all over the globe as these videos went viral about it. I'd say that's definitely a sign. No doubt. especially the whole point that it goes viral and it was New Year's Eve, the end of the year. That's the end of the year going out with a big bang, just like the Spirit said. A sure sign that something is about to hit the United States hard. And I made, again, predictions around all these structures in the past with some huge potential explosion happening at the Empire State Building in my past visions. If it's not in the Empire State Building, it's right in that same area. Excuse me, right in that same area of the Empire State Building. Also, 14th Street came up in my predictions for 2025, and I don't know what's significant there. That's probably where we are going to see some tragic event play out right there on 14th Street in New York City. I also saw, what I've been saying for years, that the radicals want nothing more than to take down Washington, D.C. and the Capitol building. I've seen visions in the past of an explosion at the Capitol building. Now, how the heck would they be able to get near that? Because you can't get near that. The only way that they'll be able to get near these structures is from inside work and inside jobs. And we know there's insiders that are here that want to destroy the country and want to destroy the new administration that's going into place. They want to stop the administration from going into place. Therefore, I would not at all be surprised to see this all play out on Inauguration Day. And that just, everybody's focused on Washington, D.C., while all of a sudden, these sleeper cells are activated instantly as Trump takes oath. It would make the most sense. I tried to analyze with friends and my friend, ex-military intelligence friend, what date, because they always pick dates that are significant. Like we know about the 11 and the 22. Big things happen, especially the 22nd. We've seen JFK's assassination was on the 22nd. 11/22, they're the two numbers together. So there's something to that. But they also use different dates. They used, the 11 with the number 9, which is what we use when we have an emergency. So we're trying to think and, put your opinions down in the comments. I want to know what you feel. But to me, the most prominent one that would be the most effective in the near future would be Inauguration Day. Or the day before, because Trump has a big rally in D.C. the day before. I feel like there's going to be something's going on there in D.C. I don't know what it is. And remember, I saw barricades going around the city eventually as well, like it was back in 2020. So this whole vision, again, take down the Capitol building. I also, in my past predictions, talked about the Washington Monument being severely damaged, which I thought was going to be in relation to an earthquake, which did happen years ago in my predictions. But since then, it came up again. I saw something happen. I saw it wobbling back and forth in my vision. However, I didn't make any predictions robbed around the One World Trade Building in New York City. Didn't make any predictions around that. Not to say that it's not a future target, but for all four of them to be hit with that 4 vibration too, I don't believe in coincidences, friends. It's a sign. A big hit's coming to New York City, and a big hit's coming to Washington, D.C. And I take these all as very big signs and just validations of things that I've seen in visions and predicted in the past. As much as I don't want to see any harm come to anybody, especially my Americans and allied countries, I have no doubt that they hid troops right here on our land waiting to be activated. No doubt. And you know what? The military has no doubt too, because even the military, in accordance to this article, security has tightened at military bases following the New Orleans thing. So they're blaming the New Orleans thing. They know more than what they're telling you. U.S. military bases across North America are initiating heightened security measures, including suspending the Trusted Traveler program following the attacks last week in New Orleans and in Vegas. Okay, let's just get that straight. The one in Vegas was not an attack. We know that. There's so much, again, misinformation and such coming out of that. Last I heard, because Sean Ryan did a whole show on that. Did you see that whole show about that? That guy reading the emails and all that, which I believe without a doubt are legitimate. And now apparently Sean Ryan and his family are in hiding. That wouldn't surprise me either. Now, someone told me that. I don't know how true it is, but whoever told me that, I trust their word for that to be true. Why would they go in hiding? Why does the government not want you to know that information? The guy that they say was in that vehicle was not in that vehicle in Vegas. I can assure you that right now. Definitely was not there. And not only that, he's got away. He's alive and well. And I feel that we will find that out in the future. I actually feel like it'll come out in the future. I wouldn't be surprised to see them arrest him, but in turn see him at some type of hearings, speaking at some type of hearing in the future. Of course, what happened in New Orleans seems a little shady. Although I remember my visions of Spirit showing me the whole vehicles being used in that form. And I told you and warned you to stay away from parades, celebrations, and things like that. And many of you heeded that advice, thankfully. And prayers to all those in New Orleans for that horrific thing. But unfortunately, there's going to be other things that are going to happen along those same lines in the near future. Except that my visions include visions of seeing vehicles packed with explosives. One of them I see like big 55-barrel drums, and I don't know what's in them. One of those drums is clear, so I could see liquid moving in it as the truck or van is moving. Other ones are solid black, so I can't see in them. But there's a couple that are clear, so I'm going to take that the black ones contain something different than the clear one. And I'm thinking that the clear ones are something toxic, which would hence bring into fruition the visions that I had of radiation signs and symbols and some type of dirty explosive being used, perhaps multiple. And we could see that on Inauguration Day as well, because I also see visions of vans or trucks being used with explosives, blasting through military bases and blasting through other things. I also am getting a vision right now, Spirit showing me a vision of a SUV plowing through a fence at an airport. I don't see an explosion, but I feel like it's there to do harm, and I believe is apprehended before it does harm. I don't know where I'm at, but I might even be in New York. But a vehicle plowing through the fence at an airport. Again, that just came to me. That's why you got to tune in every Tuesday. Spirit's always flooding me with amazing information and visions of our future. Last night I did a meditation with attempts to get more information about what's about to happen, especially for our safety more than anything. And my meditation was interrupted, so I didn't get a whole lot. I got a good amount, but not enough to put out the video yet, so I'm going to have to do another one of the meditations and add it to it. But overall, some of what I said, the visions of seeing these trucks filled with barrels of explosives and something toxic being used, ramming them into barricades. At the same time, months ago, maybe even 6 months ago, after the first attempt on DT's life, I saw a black SUV with, again, explosives being charged towards Trump's convoy when they're traveling down the road. So that, again, is all symbolic, and it could be, again, a explosive SUV or truck being used, again, to charge towards Trump or his people. So I wouldn't even go to that rally on the 19th. If you're planning on going to that, I would stay away from it all. Remember, friends, there is really no impending doom, only a much greater and the greatest awakenings of all. And in order for people to awaken, there's going to be events that must play out to help awaken the masses. More so that we can, in turn, step into our power, take our power back, and take our planet back, and put our planet into the hands of the light, and rip it out of the hands of the darkness. And that's overall what's happening. The web of darkness is being dismantled, one little string at a time. And soon that web of darkness is going to collapse. And I saw that in Peru when I worked with ayahuasca. Aya showed me we're caught up in that web of darkness, but that web of darkness is being dismantled. And in turn, we will create the web of light in its place. Something to look forward to. I could talk all day. There's so much to talk about, but that chainsaw in the background at this point is really driving me insane, and I really hope it's not interfering with my audio. Some predictions for you and some visions that I've had over the past few days. I see a cruise ship. I had a vision of a cruise ship stuck out at sea. It was stuck there. And I don't know, I'm not sure what exactly was happening to this cruise ship, but I saw the vision of it being towed to shore by 2 smaller tugboats. And I feel that everybody on the ship is fine, but I also had this feeling of being stranded and being late for my next destination. So I feel like they're there a while before, they're rescued or whatever. And I feel that this is somehow related to the electronic system of this cruise ship somehow being completely fried. And I truly feel that this is a sabotage of sorts, some type of hack attack of some sort. And I think this may end up being either a Royal Caribbean or a Carnival cruise. Something to keep in mind. And if you're going on a cruise, just be prepared in case you're stuck there a little longer than you expect to be. Another one is I see some type of real estate and property issues rising up in Canada, several other countries, the United Kingdom, and I believe France. And it feels to me like a new way for governments to come in and seize people's land. Didn't feel very comfortable to me. Some type of new taxes, some type of, again, housing crisis that's going to hit all those countries I just mentioned, which in turn is going to bring about major protests of people rebelling against government control globally and control over our land. That's especially heightened in Canada, actually, really big time. So even though Trudeau's out, I told you he'd be out, did I not? Told you that 2024 he'd be out. Of course, he lingered in there a little bit longer. I told you he'd be out by 2024. He's out. He's still lingering, of course. It's like that mold you just can't get rid of in the corner. Just won't go away. But he'll be going away soon. But I still see continued issues when it comes to Canada, especially when the trumpet starts blowing tariffs towards their direction. It's just major problems. And people in Canada, again, stepping into their power and coming together to take control of their land and their properties once again. Now, I have been predicting and feeling this one for some time now. At the same time, the Mars retrograde and the Cancer influence can certainly bring this about much quicker and right now. Supply chain issues. Supply chain issues and issues with ports and shortages of goods for many countries. Speaking of ports, I talked about attack on ports and such. And I just read it on the article or anything. You can look it up yourself. But there was just an attack on a Russian port. The Ukraine attacked a prominent Russian port. So there's attacks on ports happening and falling into place. Much more to come with that. And other issues with ports. And again, DT's new tariffs and taking power along with new conflicts breaking out and attacks on ports and even attacks on shipping container ships is going to bring about problems when it comes to many different goods. As Spirit has been warning again since 2020, stock up and be prepared, including preparation for economic collapse. It's coming, friends. They're going to collapse the economy on Trump's watch and put something new in. Somebody left a comment. Oh, January 6th, NESARA went into place. NESARA is some kind of banking system that's in dream world. It's not realistic. It's not happening. No time soon. Not in this world. And it didn't happen on January 6th. Hate to bust your bubble, but it didn't. The economy's got to collapse before something new goes into place. This all makes sense to the numbers, to the astrology, and to us being in the 9 universal year of endings. So it's coming. That's why Spirit's told us to invest in physical things so that you have physical things. Because if the money is no good, it's no good. Get rid of that money and utilize it. Have some cash on hand always in case there's outages. There's going to be major power outages. That's one of the things they're going to do is hit the grid. I see a combination. It's a big attack. This attack that's coming, we can relate it sort of to what happened October 7th in Israel. Very much related to that. Very much, but on a much larger scale. There's at least 1,500 of these trained militants hiding in our country right now, just in the U.S. alone. They're also hiding throughout Europe. Many of them in France, Paris, France. That's another big target city that they want to hit. Yeah, no, I haven't gotten anything about Canada, so I'm surprised about that because you would think in the attack on America, they'd also hit Canada, but I wasn't getting anything with that. So I guess y'all might be safe up there for now. For now. That's what I was seeing, darkness. And that's why Spirit's been telling us that when it goes dark, just be in a safe place. Especially if you hear any kind of loud booms or bangs outside. Get into a safe place, lock your doors, and just be safe. And this too will pass. It's an event that's going to last probably several weeks. And I feel like this attack that comes, is going to be like a series leading up to something, boom. Like I feel like a series. And I feel like that series, you know, what happened on New Year's Day in Louisiana to me was just a practice run. That's nothing in comparison to what they're really practicing and getting ready to do. It's creepy. It's creepy, and it's going to hit major cities, all the major cities. They're hiding, so we figured that out. If there's at least 1,500 of them, and say they hit 15 cities, that's 100 of these militants that are very well armed, and Spirit showed me them getting weapons and even missiles that can shoot a plane out of the sky through these tunnels with help of the cartel. Which makes sense to what I said in the past, that there's going to be major cartel wars in the future. I saw military going across the border to take out the cartel. And that was U.S. military going across the border to do it. Why would they do that? Well, when they find out that they were a big part of, you know, the money and everything else, it all falls into place, friends. Hopefully it don't fall into place, but all the predictions separately all kind of go together and fall into place. It's kind of crazy. And I see some type of major disruption happening on a major train trade route. So a train route, that's a major route for trade. And this feels to me, again, like sabotage of some type of a railway system. Either an explosive on the train itself, which gives me a flashback because I feel like I did see a vision in the past of a train exploding. I think that was over there in Europe, Poland, Germany, somewhere like that. So I don't know. This could be separate. Either an explosion of a train or an explosion on the tracks itself causing the train to derail. And it could be both. It could be double explosion. In turn, blocking this trade route, this railroad trade route for a period of time. This also feels like, to me, like it's far out in the country. So, you know, no roads get to it. You know, it's not easy to get to. Wherever this is happening, it's not easy to get to. Hard to get to, making the cleanup efforts much more challenging. Major tensions are going to ring out in Panama. I don't even feel like you need to be psychic to talk about that, but I did make a prediction about Panama a few years ago where I saw like major things going on in Panama, not to mention weather events, but some kind of conflict. And now this looks more plausible now than ever with Trump's claims and desires to take back the Panama Canal. I mean, it was our military that built it, so technically we should. And he wants it in America's hands because, you know, China is not going to allow that because China took it over. And I can see China causing major issues for the Panama Canal. And I feel that the Panama Canal is going to be disrupted to a point where goods are unable to get through at all. I also see changes that are going to be forced when the water levels drop, making ships become stuck in the canal. And they can't get them out because of the water level. And I also see American troops going into that area. I don't know why. I'm guessing to protect it, maybe. But I saw American troops in Panama. I also see a vision of a major underwater volcanic eruption taking place under the water along the west coast of the United States, closer to Oregon. This, in turn, is going to cause fish to wash along the shores. The fish are going to be a sign of other incoming Earth movements and warnings set off by Mother Earth across the globe. So this is a spot, friends, we got to watch very, very closely right off the coast of the United States, west coast, closer to Oregon. Watch for the fish that wash ashore. I think that may actually come first. And then this will be a series of warnings. And once this happens, of course, I'll go live and we'll tap into what these warnings and what's going to come following. Corporate layoffs is a question someone asked and a card sent to me for the holidays. Thank you for that. I also stated in the past that we were going to see a rise up of workers going on strike and walking out on the job, just as we've been witnessing in the past month with Amazon workers and many others. I would tell you that if you work for Elon Musk's companies, any of his companies, expect his companies to pose major layoffs. This is also going to include layoffs when it comes to companies like Apple, Google, and other tech companies coming in and revamping their staff with a new, younger staff. That includes Meta as well. At the same time, companies like Amazon are going to be turning their profits into artificial intelligence and robots, which will soon take away most of the jobs, literally most of the jobs, Spirit said, with Amazon. And many other companies are going to follow suit with that. As folks step into their power and awaken to new levels of consciousness, it's going to bring about some of the largest protests and walkouts in history. And it won't be so much companies getting rid of people. It's people forcing companies to find better solutions. Unfortunately, those better solutions are going to end up eliminating their jobs. So many jobs. And protests will even form against AI and robots. Big protests. A whole, thing forms. Drawing a blank. But, a whole group forms as a big form of protest against artificial intelligence and robots taking our jobs. In the long run, the globalists are going to utilize artificial intelligence, and they are going to swarm the internet with fake AI videos and pictures to harm other people, causing uproars and demands to regulate artificial intelligence. But this is exactly what the globalists want and plan. It's their agenda. In turn, they can initiate their digital internet ID, which you would be required to possess in order to access not just the internet, but all electronics, such as your phone and even video games. So beware, friends. There's always an underlying agenda. Always. Another thing I saw is a lot of fear people, terrorists, I guess we'll say the word. I didn't want to say the word, but I said the word, wearing jackets that go boom and going into places. And I feel like this is a part of what's coming with this attack. Just a few other notes that I had here. So, yeah, vest bombers. And one hit after another across the globe. I have all Inauguration Day written here as a very strong potential. The only other dates I could think of, going back to dates, would be President's Day, Memorial Day, and 4th of July. I couldn't think of any others that would be, make a statement, because everything's a statement with these psychopaths. Not sure. But again, let me know what you think in the opinion in the comments down below. Overall, 2025 is going to go down as a year, especially as we move into 2026, more so. A year of terror and attacks across the globe, and attacks that take place in America and allied countries. And this is going to unleash, basically, hell on earth. If they do this and it's not busted, these sleeper cells aren't caught before this is initiated. In turn, it will bring hell to the Middle East. It's bad enough in the Middle East already, but that's where it's initiating, and it's not good. So friends, pray, hold positive things in the light, always be prepared, not scared, and know that you're always safe, because that's always important to hold in your heart. Because the more you worry about things, the more the universe is going to give you to worry about. The more you focus on your blessings and miracles, the more blessings and miracles that are going to flow into your life. I also had visions of a guy, several actually, with assault rifles, with big things over their face, along a busy traffic jammed highway. I had a hard time saying it. It's one I don't want to get out, but that's what I saw. Because I see that these sickos are specifically targeting schools, universities, sports stadiums, movie theaters, and large venue events. Vehicles, again, are going to be a huge part of their terror. Ramming explosive vehicles into buildings. I saw that too, an explosive vehicle going into a building. I don't know what building they were smashing into, but the building went boom for sure. Really crazy things and crazy times that we are heading into right now, friends. I must leave you with that because I had a lot to put out today. And I have a lot more to put out in the near future. And I hope that you enjoyed today's content. And if you did, please do hit that thumbs up, love button. I love you and thank you for your contributions, your memberships, and for supporting this channel and allowing me to provide this free content, predictions, and prophecy to everybody that wants to watch it. Please do share this with others. Don't forget to open up that newsletter down below. Check it out. Sign up for free. And if you want more information about me personally, go directly to my website, Joseph Tittel, Tittel.com. Or make it easier, just go to spiritmanjt.com. You can find all the information, schedule sessions. I have no upcoming classes at this point in time because I'm trying to plan travel. I'm trying to plan travel more than anything right now. And then I'll plan classes. But there's some places I want to see in 2025. I want to get to where I want to go and see what I want to see before, you never know. The way the world's going, you might not want to go anywhere in the near future, especially when the earth starts burping up volcanoes and shaking the earth because, we know it's coming. Overall, though, the best part about all of it is that the golden age that we are heading into, an age where we are more aware, where we communicate with each other on a telepathic level, where everybody's in tune with their intuition, has conversations with their deceased loved ones, and we are on a high frequency that just, you couldn't even fathom how amazing it is because we've never seen anything like it. So always know that. Get excited that we're heading into that. It's just the bumpy road that we got to go through to get to that destination. But we will reach that destination. With that said, beautiful friends, remember to celebrate life, celebrate you, be kind to others as you wish others be kind to you. And most importantly, remember to be bold, be true, be kind, be you. Let your light shine ever so brightly, friends. And have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste, and much love.